Hi, I'm Meg.
And I'm David.
Welcome to The Average Vegans, a podcast to help you live an attainable vegan lifestyle. We're not the ripped influencer vegans you hear about in other podcasts. We're just some ordinary people living in the South, eating plants and loving animals.
And on today's episode, we are discussing macros and micros for vegans. And this is not the type of macros you would use in an Excel spreadsheet. It's more talking about food stuff.
You've been holding that
I
in.
did. I was like, yeah, I know what I'm saying when I hit record. That was happening.
I love it so much. I love you guys can see the excitement in his face when you know he's like had a thought in his head. He gets it out.
Macros in Excel. I'm a nerd. We're doing this.
So, God.
Macros and micros.
Oh my gosh. Before we get into today's topic, we'd like to ask for reviews. Sad little podcasters over here begging for reviews, but they really mean a lot for us, especially on Apple Podcasts. It helps us go up the charts so more people will see us and more people will listen, and spread the vegan love. So We're just begging, like little sad vegans over here. Please write us some reviews.
I'm not
It'd
sad.
be great. We would love it. Yeah, we are. Stop it. Be sad for a minute. Come on. Guilt people. There's good. Thank you. Okay.
Strong men do cry, Mr. Lebowski. Strong men do cry. All right.
You are ignorant.
In all seriousness, it actually does help us with the algorithms. Actually, in all your web podcast apps, starring, liking, giving reviews, all that does help with the algorithm and help suggestions. People doing searches for a certain topic. So.
Yes, we would appreciate it. And also sharing with your friends, of course. I say it at the end of every podcast episode, but I don't know how many people make it all the way to the end and really want to listen to me in my spiel. So I would love for you to share our podcast with your friends. If there's a specific episode that fits somebody, just, send them a link. You don't have to say anything. It'd be lovely. We'd appreciate it.
There could also be future episodes that fit them, but you don't know that yet. Share with them, get them hooked, and they'll find out.
That's right. Speaking of, actually, we received a message recently on Instagram from, let me pull it up. This is on the spur of the moment, from Holga Girl. And she wants us to she asked us a question about sugar.
Okay.
And I thought, we haven't done a full episode on that subject.
That's true.
So maybe that's an idea for an upcoming episode. So I thought we should talk about it, write it down.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? And we want to hear some other recommendations. We appreciate it when you guys message us on social at The Average Vegans, Facebook, Instagram. Let us know what you want us to talk about. I also have a product recommendation. Okay. So if you've listened to us at all, you know that my husband and my daughters are not vegan. They eat everything that I place in front of them that's vegan. They're totally fine with it. They're not super keen on tofu, but for the most part, they'll eat pretty much anything I give them. They like almost everything that they eat, but they are not fully vegan. We have not had milk in our house, like animal milk, for, years now. It's probably I've been vegan for 6 years. I'd say we haven't had milk in the house for a good 4 years now. But there hasn't been a nut milk that my family loves. They'll tolerate it, but it's not like their favorite thing, My husband got the Oatly oat milk, full fat. My family is losing their minds over this.
Yeah, Oatly's good, dude.
Oh My husband said, I will never buy another kind of nut milk. Don't ask me. This is like the almighty. It is amazing. And then that was a private conversation. Later in the day, my daughter comes down, my 16-year-old daughter, and she's like, Mom, this milk, I had it in cereal. Oh my gosh. Can we always get this? I don't want your cashew milk anymore. Forget it. And I was like, okay, guys. So it's the blue one. You should get it because my family is losing their mind. And after 4 years of trying all kinds of nut milks, we found one. It's a relief, truly.
To me, Oatly, which is an oat milk, right? It tastes like cereal milk.
Yeah.
Which is,
it feels too much to me. I kind of like my cashew milk a little bit more, but they love this.
Hey man,
like
whatever. As long as it's not animal milk, maybe good.
That's right. I just want to promote it because it finally made my family happy. And I don't have to experiment with a bunch of different kinds of nut milk anymore. Not that I don't want to. I love trying all of them, but they don't have to, and I don't have to hear them complain. They found their one. So that's my product for the episode.
Hell yeah, that's I usually just grab whatever one's on, whichever like nut milk or oat milk, whatever's on sale. I go, there you go, that one's. I gotta it's on sale. Or I got a coupon for it. We'll just grab that one.
Always frugal.
Always, but it's not. But I also get the vanilla ones. I don't get plain. So mine's always started with vanilla, which is great until I have to like cook with it. I'm like, oh crap, I gotta find like a small container of regular because I can't like make something with vanilla almond milk. It's not supposed to be sweet or have vanilla flavor. It's baking. It's fine because it's sugary and vanilla. Who cares? But it's like you're making like a sauce,
like mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese, or you do like a curry kind of a thing. You can't, or something that requires some sort of like creamy substance. Like, okay, I gotta go now find a container that as small as I can because I'm not gonna probably use it again, or at least sparingly.
Oh my gosh.
So
yeah. There you go. That's my product.
I don't really have a product. Although this past week or so I made it's called the TikTok seitan. You know, I love my seitan. But I made the TikTok seitan thing. It's got a long name to it of like the super simple seitan something recipe. I can't remember what it's called, but I keep calling it called like the TikTok viral seitan. But it's really, it's pretty simple. It's like usually how I make mine anyway, but a very like simplified version of it. Because normally when I make seitan, I like put my seasonings into it. And I usually mix some sort of like bean or legume, like do like lentil or something in it, depending on what I'm making. And then a nut butter if it's like ribs kind of a thing.
Right.
And then if it's ribs, I just bake it. If it's more like a steak kind of a thing, or a chicken kind of thing, I steam it before I grill it or whatever. Plumps it up and gives it more chew. This one was like super simple. It was just like your vital wheat gluten, salt, pepper, garlic, and sage. And this one called for regular flour, like regular whole wheat flour. I put chickpea flour in it. I just like the flavor of it and the texture better.
Mm-hmm.
You put just a little bit of warm water, kind of mix warm water until you have a ball. And your kneading, of course, seitan kneading depends on your texture you want, the density of it. I usually something like this. I did as little as possible. You like do a little pan fry, and it has a sauce put on it, but I chose the sauce I wanted, and because it's like do this sweet soy sauce with this spicy thing. And I'm like, all right, you know what?
They was like, no.
That's like 4 sauces I gotta like buy to put on just to try this thing. So one of my favorite like quick sauces I usually buy is like a sweet Thai. It's like spicy but sweet.
That's my favorite too.
So good, dude. So I use that, and then you just turn it on low, let it kind of cook in that for a bit, and then mix that with some like I see that's what I see you picture. You post on Instagram.
Oh yeah.
I did it with brown rice and like bell peppers and onions and like I think broccoli with it or no mushrooms, zucchini or something. So it was really good.
So good.
Yeah, it started to take like 10-15 minutes max to make. It was really really good. That's my
sweet chili sauce makes me think of that mellow mushroom tie-dye pizza.
Oh,
they have that sweet sauce on there, that sweet chili sauce on there too.
Good,
Love that crap.
That is super
I
good.
could put it on everything.
Or thing. Put on everything.
All right. So we've blabbed a little bit about stuff going on in our lives. Now let's get into the macros and micros for vegans.
Yes, this is my Jimmy Jam. My little stuff.
Yeah. Lots of David talking, everybody.
Sorry in advance, but so
no, these are my favorite episodes. I learn along with everyone listening.
Yeah. But so macros and micros, you usually hear this a lot when you're either. I tell people to track this when they're switching to a plant-based diet at first to try and learn how to have a balanced diet. Also, if you're usually into fitness, so if you're learning how to build muscle, lose body fat, you'll usually track these sorts of things. I track them. I mean, I am trying to do that. I go to the gym and try to build muscle, lose body fat anyway. But I would track them no matter what. To me, it's a game. Like, can I hit all my numbers? What am I? It's a fun. It's literally like it's like a game to me. So I
love that it's a game to you.
Every Sunday,
every day, can I get it?
Yeah, man. Well, no, because that's when I meal plan. Because I meal plan basically on Sundays, and I pull up. I use a chronometer.
Yep.
And I put in I have the same smoothies and stuff every day. So I put all the stuff in my smoothies, and I just try to meal plan. Make sure I hit them all. I hit them all. I never have a problem. There's maybe one's a little low, but it's fine. I'm not psycho about it. But so generally speaking, your macros are your protein, your carbs, and your fats. Those I always look at those as like the house, right? That's the big. Yeah. That's like the higher level. And usually when someone is talking about how many calories they're getting and where their calories are coming from, this is what you're talking about. So I think it's 4 grams. There's 4 calories for every gram of fat and 2 calories for every gram of protein and carbohydrate. I think that's the ratios. So usually when you're trying to lose body fat, you'll drop eventually they say lower your fat intake. So watch how many nuts you're eating, avocados, whole foods are usually higher in fat to adjust, and add in more vegetables, more carbohydrates to compensate for that fat loss, the loss in fat intake. So that's why you're usually trying, that's also why that I usually kind of say don't try to cook with oils that much, especially if you're working on a weight loss plan, because it's just you're adding 4 calories for every gram of oil, bit of oil you're using. If weight loss is a thing for you, something to bear in mind. But usually people are talking about.
I think that's important for new vegans, especially like you were saying, to track, because whenever you hear about someone that says, I tried to go vegan and I almost died, or they got so sick, it's because they didn't pay attention to this balance.
Exactly.
And they just fucked themselves up. So this is very important, especially in the beginning, because you can overdo in one area and lack so much in another, and it can throw you all kinds of off balance.
Right. People in that context, people are usually going they're doing 1 or 2 things. They're either going hard on carbohydrates and fiber. So they're doing beans and broccoli and potatoes, things that are kind of more dense. And they're getting stomach aches, so they're not eating. Yep. They're not getting enough proteins, so it means they're not being satiated. And protein keeps you fuller for longer, so they're not eating enough of that. They're eating a lot of low calorie, high nutrition foods, so they're not staying hungry. They're getting hungry sooner because their proteins aren't that high, and they're having a lot of fiber, so they have stomach aches. So
right.
I'm hungry, but I don't eat because my stomach hurts, and my family do not want to be in the same room with me. And it's because you're not washing your beans. You're eating too many beans. You're eating a lot of fibrous foods, and you're not having enough calories. So, just to say, tracking it usually will help you kind of go, oh wow, I'm eating too much of this or not enough of that, or I will say if you have an eating disorder, I wouldn't normally suggest doing this because it can send you down a bad path if you have a known eating disorder. If that's the case, try to eat more intuitively. If you're hungrier, you're probably not eating enough proteins. That's usually what I tell people. Again, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not anything like that. This is just from my own personal experiences, talking with people and things that I've dealt with. So this is not, by all means, if you're dealing with something, if you feel like you're low, talk to your doctor, talk to a dietitian, talk to a nutritionist, and see what's going on. Have them work with you. But this is all from my own personal experiences and knowledge and things I've dealt with other people, working with them, helping them out, and also with myself.
Yeah, and if you start to track these things and you feel like it's causing a problem, then, definitely talk to someone and just, hold off, just back off tracking things. Like, not everything needs to be tracked. I think the reason we're talking about this today is to help people try to find that balance. But if it becomes too much, like the counting calories and also, counting macros and all of this, if it becomes too much,
Right.
there always put your mental health a little bit
Oh,
more
absolutely.
above all this tracking of things and just focus on eating, and like David said, intuitively. So
Right. The people I tell to do this on regularly is if you're just starting out, if you have
mhm.
certain fitness goals where your proteins, fats, and carbohydrates are going to affect that, whether it's getting body muscle mass, getting mass, or losing weight, um, or if you feel like you're feeling like sluggish or feeling like you don't have enough
Mhm.
energy, you're feeling like cloudy headed. So basically, you're feeling weird and different. Tracking this like, oh wow, I'm not getting enough vitamin K, or my vitamin A is really low because I'm not eating that many carrots and sweet potatoes, stuff like that. So if you're feeling different and you don't have a history of eating disorders, you're just starting out, or you're on a fitness path, this is something I suggest tracking and looking where you are. If you're just a person and you're just going to work, going to school, living your life, feeding the kids, it's not something to really worry about unless you know something different about yourself. And if looking at this gives you anxiety, definitely talk to a doctor, talk to a dietitian. Don't put yourself in a poor mental health state trying to track this. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I think it's fun, and I don't dwell on it. I try to make sure I'm good, but I don't dwell on it. If I'm like, oh, my vitamin E is off a little bit, guess I'll eat some kiwi and I'll be fine. Whatever. I don't freak out about it. Like I track mine, but I didn't have my little dinner smoothie because I wasn't in the mood for it.
Right.
I'm probably down on some nutrients, but also I'm so tracking so well I don't care. And a lot of these some of these are fat soluble anyway, so they store in your body. So like B12 is like that, vitamin A is like that, which we'll talk about. So.
Yes, we will. And I don't track anything. I should. And maybe this talking about this episode will inspire me to. There have been moments in my life where I've tracked my macros, not really my micros as much, but it's just such a pain in the butt to, put everything
Yeah, it takes
in this
time.
app. It takes time. It does. So I can see why people don't want to. But like David said, if you're feeling off in any way, which, there are times when everybody feels a little off, but if it feels like maybe there's something that isn't in line, just tracking this for a week is going to make a difference, because you're going to see some kind of weird pattern, something that you're missing or something that you're
Right.
lacking and that might be causing this problem.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, and you're not. If you're trying to like lose weight and you're still going up, like okay, well give it a few weeks and see where you are. You might be eating more calories than you thought. You might be consuming more fats than you realized you were. If you're trying to put on weight, whether it be like body fat, 'cause people maybe low on body fat, they're trying to put some on, or if you're trying to put on muscle mass and you're not moving up in your muscle mass weight, tracking that will also tell you where you are, maybe some adjustments you need to make. So it's all about seeing where you is, what you
It
need
can
to do.
also teach you, it can also teach you what is in the different foods that you're eating. So there is a local radio DJ, Cassie from the Burt Show. She'll never hear this, but what's up, Cassie? I love you. Um, and I heard her recently say in her Instagram stories that she's been tracking her macros and micros, and she was like, I keep gaining weight and I couldn't figure out why. So I started tracking everything, and she was like, did you guys know that there's like a whole bunch of like sugar and stuff in dates?
Yeah.
And yeah, and she was like, I didn't know that. And she goes, I thought it was healthy because it's like a plant, but I was eating like 4 of them a day every day with
Whoa.
my smoothie. And she goes, this taught me that I should not do such things. So I was like, oh my God, that is like mind blowing, one, but also what a great way to realize what's in the things that you're eating as
Yeah.
well, and what might be having like a reaction to your body like that. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You're gonna say
Yeah,
calculate
no.
some stuff.
And this is perfect. This is awesome. You saying this. So check it out. So like one of my snacks for a while was like dates and peanut butter, which is supposed to, it's a carbohydrate, the sugar, the fats, the proteins. It's actually a pretty good balanced snack, right? And
Right.
I'm like, man, what the hell? Like, I'm definitely like putting on more weight than I thought I would, whatever. Not. I'm trying to lose weight, but even if I stay the same body weight, but I'm losing like body fat and getting muscle, that's fine. I'm like, I'm putting on
Right.
some weight. Like, what's going on? And I looked, I plugged it in my chronometer because I wasn't tracking it. Because I date, who gives a shit?
Right.
A cup of chopped dates is over 400 calories.
Yep.
I was like,
Sure
oh my
is.
god, I'm eating 5. I'm eating that easy.
Yep.
And plus the fat and the stuff from the peanut butter. I'm like, all right, so I should
Yeah.
shouldn't do that, And again, that's because of my goals. If you're just like, dude, I love dates and peanut butter, I don't give a shit. Dude, do it. Enjoy life. I'm not saying you shouldn't be eating
Right.
that. If you're down for it, go for it. But I was like, I have a physical goal I'm going for loosely.
Yep.
I'm going for it, and I'm like totally sabotaging myself with a tasty treat. I should not be doing that.
Yeah. And she had no idea either. She was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're high in
She
sugar,
had
yeah.
the most shocked look on her face. It was so great. But again, like just tracking it for a week made her immediately realize what the crap she was doing
Yeah.
wrong. Like she realized it within a day or two. She was like, what the hell am I doing to myself? So again, it doesn't take you a long time to kind of see what might be causing an issue. And by then you may be like, this is kind of fun to kind of make sure that, I'm getting a balanced diet. Maybe it'll become a game like it is for David.
Yeah, it's fun.
This wacko brain over there.
So the overlying thing with your macros, with those three: carbs, fat, and protein. Carbs are not the devil. Carbs are extremely important. Carbs create, they're energy source, right? They're also an energy source for your brain. So carbs are going to release glucose in the bloodstream. Also going to store glycogen in muscle tissue for energy, and the glucose, which is sugar, released by the body. That's how you get energy. That's also what your brain eats. Your brain is a ball of fat, and it loves sugar. It wants that sugar. We've all done it. We're like, oh, I can't think straight, and then I'm getting sluggish. And you go, I need something to eat, and we go through something that's sugary. If you're going from healthier, you're going to go for fruit because it's fructose.
Right.
It's going to spike your glucose, right? Or candy, which is okay. I don't have. I'm probably eating it all right now. But that's where your brain goes. If you're feeling like kind of brain fog, you're probably going to want some carbohydrate, usually something sugary, to get that glucose pumping, so your brain has some food. If with carbs, they're not the devil. They're not like terrible. Yeah, there are some like I don't like saying foods are good or bad. Some foods are healthy.
Yeah,
and
I hate
unhealthy.
using that. Yeah.
Right, because
Mhm.
that puts like a connotation of that can really trigger eating disorders. So foods are good and bad. There's some that are more healthier and unhealthy than others. So you eating a bag
Right.
of candy is pretty different than eating a bag of apples. Obviously, it's a pretty obvious statement. You're both going to spike they're both going to cause a sugar spike, right? And the sugar spikes can make you insulin resistant and lead to diabetes. But think about like whole foods are going to have fiber in them that's going to slow down that digestion, which slow down the release of glucose, so you don't have that issue. Some people who are diabetics say like, oh, you got to get off all carbs. I'm like, that doesn't, and that's been proven that's not the case. There's people who've switched to a plant-based diet, which is heavy in carbs typically, and they reverse their diabetes issues. So type 2, by the way, type 1 is completely different.
I've literally seen memes where they're like, what is it like? Come to the vegan side. We've got the carbs.
Yeah.
It's like go vegan, eat the carbs, eat all the carbs.
Yeah.
It's like that's how you get to eat carbs is when you go vegan. And I'm like, good Lord, guys, calm down.
Well, generally speaking, carbs, man, because like if the carbs we eat are going to be higher nutrition, lower in calories. I tell people all the time, like, you like to eat, go vegan, man, because you can eat so much more.
Oh my gosh, it's so filling.
It really is.
I have you already know this, David. I have the hardest time eating a full meal.
Yeah.
And I cannot. It seems as though I like a bird. I can only eat like half my meal, if that. So it's very helpful because then I always have like a second meal from everything. Always. I have never left a restaurant without a freaking goodie bag or freaking meal in my hand. Never.
No, not that I've ever seen. Which is funny because we're out somewhere eating, and I eat all mine. I'll clean my plate, and I look over,
God.
and you don't. I'm looking at yours like, are you gonna finish that?
Get away from my food.
I'm taking it home.
I
I'm
will
like,
finish it tomorrow. Okay.
yeah, because I remember when you and I went to Salada, and you just like give me everything. I'm like, damn. We'll be like, well, I'm taking it home. I'll have a meal for 2 days. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
I eat that salad forever.
I
That's one of
know.
the things I'm looking forward to going back to the office is that there's a Salada nearby. And I'm like, oh, I've missed you.
And they
So
got
I missed.
they got rid of their tofu though, which sucks.
I know, but they've got the
It's
falafel.
pretty good. Falafel's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So anyway,
Yeah.
fats. We're gonna go to the next thing.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, carbs get me excited.
oh hey, why they should, because carbs are also cake. So fats also very important. Because said there's they're higher per calorie per gram. So you do need to kind of watch your fat intakes. It's really easy to go overboard, especially if like I love trail mix with nuts and peanuts and peanuts, cashews, all that stuff, and they're higher in fat. So you gotta be careful about that. I can eat a whole bag of it and be like I can have all the calories in a day in a bag of trail mix. Trust me, if you let me do it.
And I like oils and I like avocados like a crazy
Yeah,
person. Like,
I don't
oh,
like
give
coconut
me
oil.
all.
If I have to cook with oil, I use the littlest amount I can. Just but some people like it. I'm not mocking anybody for how they eat. As long as you're healthy and you're taking care of yourself, taking care of those around you. The rule of metal when you're in the mosh pits is take care of yourself, take care of each other. Same thing. As long as you're taking care of yourself, taking care of each other.
My
you're good.
gosh.
But fats are good for like your skin, your hair. Depending on your skin, your hair, your nails. A lot of healthy fats are going to contribute to that. Also, fats are good for hormone levels. If you get too low on body fat, women have issues like their periods will stop. They'll have
Yeah.
issues with other hormonal issues, and men will have issues with hormonal issues as well. For women, usually you notice it with period issues, when menstrual cycle issues, when they have too low of a body fat. So that's one big tell if you have a low body fat. And men is usually like have hair loss and things like that as well. But hormones go nuts when you have too low of a body fat. Which if your fat intake overall is low, you're gonna have similar issues. Even though your body fat may not be low, but your fat intake is low, you'll notice some actual issues with hormones, issues with like dry skin, dry hair, hair loss, that sort of stuff.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Right?
Like, let's avoid all of that and eat the
Yeah.
yummy fats. Like, come on. That's an easy peasy.
I'll watch mine. If I notice that like my fat is pretty low for the week for my meal plan, I'll throw in like some avocado, or I'll throw in some extra peanut butter, like something like that. I'll throw some peanut butter into a smoothie or something to bump my fats up if I know they're too low. I don't like them getting too high. I like to keep them low anyway. I'd rather have my carbs and my proteins be much higher than that. But like if I had to choose one to be high, out of the protein be high. Mainly because I work out like 4 days a week, and so make sure I maintain muscle mass. So I don't have any breaking down of muscle mass. But if my fat's like, wow, that's pretty low, I'm gonna throw in like a healthy fat in there.
You're like the only person in the world who's like, gosh, my fats are low this week.
It's good for you. You need fats, And I can notice it. I can notice it physically if it's too low, because I'm like, man, my skin gets dried out even though I'm using the skincare stuff.
Oh, yes.
I need to put new water in. But yeah, fats are really important. Again, I try to suggest whole food fats, avocados, nuts, seeds, things like that. Try to avoid adding additional fats in, like direct oils, because they're not whole food. There's no real nutritional value other than some mono and polysaturated fats, which again you need for hormone levels, for making cells in your body, stuff like that. Those are needed. But whole food plant based is going to be your best, because you're going to get the vitamins, minerals, along with that macro of fats as well.
And I couldn't imagine life without an avocado. Like,
No.
can you be vegan and not like avocados? Are you out there? Message us.
I
need to know.
I don't like avocados like raw, like as they are. I can't just eat an avocado.
You can't eat it on like toast?
Oh yeah, I can I put it on some toast, a little bit
well,
like.
who just eats it just raw?
Oh, people
That's
will, dude.
Weird.
Like there's certain fruits and vegetables, and there's many vegetables I can't do that. Well, technically, avocado is a fruit because it's a seed in the center that protects. But anyway, but like avocado, tomato, there's a couple others I can't just eat raw. Oh, cucumbers, I can't eat them. And celery, I can't eat just raw. I gotta have something with them, or else they're just so strong to me. I can't take it.
That's so interesting.
Way
Weird.
overbearing, yeah. But dude, put it in something, I'll munch down all day. I'm good to go.
Oh, love avocado.
So I found a recipe a long time ago. I gotta find it again for it was like deviled avocado. It was a vegan recipe. It was like basically a stuffed avocado. It
Oh
looked really good.
my
I gotta
gosh.
find it again. I was like, oh, it looks really good.
Okay. Oh, my interest is peaked, as they say. That
I'll
sounds
see if I can
amazing.
find it. I may have had it on Pinterest. I can't remember. I'll have to find it again.
I'm sure there is.
Uh,
Pinterest is the best for
right.
vegan recipes.
And your third macro. I keep getting the switch. Macro is protein. Protein's the one we hear a lot of. Generally speaking, you don't need as much protein as people think they do. I have too much, but I just honestly I don't try to have as much protein as I do. I just build my meals and go, that's how much I have. They actually found that like even with athletes, like 0.75 grams per body weight in pounds. Anything past that, your body just processes out. It doesn't actually use. There was no additional benefit as far as muscle mass growth or anything like that. But and protein it's associated with muscle growth because the body breaks it down into amino acids, which we'll talk about, and we'll talk about what those are and what the difference between an animal-based amino acid and a plant-based amino acid is here in this moment. But yeah, I mean, its primary purpose is going to be maintaining and building muscle mass, muscle repair, that sort of thing. That's its primary purpose. And then you can send me 1,000 emails saying like, oh, it does this, 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 this. All three of these do a lot, and they get broken down into their
Right.
that's what the micronutrients are. Those break down and do other things, but the protein's primary thing is to rebuild and repair muscle tissue that's been damaged by living your life. Picking up a box, so you make these micro tears from just living your life. You need to have them rebuilt and repair so you can actually maintain or build if that's your goal.
And the protein is something that people ask you about. Non-vegans ask you about your protein intake immediately the second they hear the word vegan, as if they're some kind of expert. And most of them have no idea how much protein they're getting.
No.
So it's just so silly when people do that. But protein is important. It's just not the, be all end all of everything in the world. And you don't have to be a super spastic about it. Like most people, that do like bodybuilding and stuff, the protein is a big part of it. You can get plenty of protein from animal products. We've talked about it in a million episodes now.
Yeah.
So many.
as long as you're eating a fairly well balanced diet, make sure you're having a protein source, a serving of protein, a serving of fats, and all the carbs you want, really. And you can just go nuts with vegetables. It doesn't really matter. But as long as you're eating till you're satiated, you don't have to overeat. Don't overeat. We have this really terrible thing we've all done to ourselves, at least in the United States, of like you got to eat everything on your plate, and then we have these really bad eating disorders from that. So you don't have to eat everything on your plate, but until you're full, you're satiated, make sure it's balanced. You're going to hit all of your macros. Micros can be a little more difficult, especially if you're eating the same thing all the time. That can be an issue. But as long as you're eating a balanced diet, you're going to hit your macros. Your macros. You don't really need to worry too much about those things. Again, unless you're just starting out, you're trying to learn how to transition to a plant-based diet, or you have fitness goals, like you're trying to build muscle. You want to increase your protein intake because you need to protect the muscle mass you already have, and also build on what you have now. If you're trying to lose body fat, you also need to increase your protein because you're going to be the way you're lifting weights. You're not trying to, and you're exercising, running, push-ups, all the stuff you're doing. You're still going to have these micro tears. You may not want to build muscle and gain weight, but you need to protect the muscle you have while you're losing body fat with your lower calorie intake.
So that means I need to go track my stuff. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, we have plans for you to take supplements. We'll talk about that. That'd be interesting too to track ourselves and then see and then compare and see.
No, I don't think we should do that. Says the fit guy to the unfit chick. No, thank you.
I don't know about fit. Working on it. I'll probably get there.
Can we share general numbers?
Yeah, I'll share general numbers, dude. I'll take screenshots of my stuff on and post them on Instagram if you want.
Okay, we can do that.
I don't cur.
Okay.
All right, so let's move into micros. I spent like way too much time on macros. This is fun for me. This is my thing.
He's sitting up real straight, guys.
I am. I'm not even leaning back in my chair this time. I'm like,
nope. So into it. It's adorable.
I got my music teacher in like middle school and stuff would say I have my buns on the back burner.
I love that.
You ever hear that?
No.
When I was in music class, like middle school, all the way through middle school, and elementary school probably, it was like, you know, when you come into class and when you're not singing, you're not doing anything, when you're sitting, you put your buns on the back burner, and then when it's time to sing, you move your buns to the front burner, and you sit up straight.
Oh my gosh, that's adorable.
So yeah, that's how I remember it.
It's cute.
Put your buns on the back burner.
Well, little Southern teachers.
That's it. So moving into macros, your macros are your building blocks of your macros. So those are primarily your amino acids, your vitamins, and your minerals. Again, your amino acids are your building blocks of your proteins. Your vitamins and minerals are going to be your building blocks of your fats and your carbohydrates. And that's what building blocks is what makes those and constructs them. It's
Right.
When your body takes those in and breaks them apart, it pulls out those amino acids, vitamins, minerals, and uses them for stuff. And we'll talk about some of those stuffs. So your micros break down into essential and non-essential. Essential is things that your body cannot make on its own. You either have to consume that specific thing, or your body has to take in one vitamin and mineral. It breaks it down to others to help it make it that way. So it doesn't just produce on its own. Non-essential.
I was reading about this and I was like, that is so interesting and weirdly named. Essential or not produced. Like I wish the name had some kind of clue into it that you knew that's
right.
You know what I mean, that clued into the definition.
Yeah, because non-essential is. Go ahead. Sorry, you were about to say.
No, you're about to say what I was going to say. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, because non-essential means you produce it yourself. So it should be like self-producing and non-self-producing.
Yes, that's what it should be labeled. Right. I don't like it. Yes.
It is weird. And science loves doing that. To like name it weird. You're like, what does that mean? You gotta like learn what it means. Like you did it on purpose, didn't you? You just made it weird on purpose. Yep. So sometimes making it weird helps you force you to learn what it is, so then you remember it. So
that's true. That's very true.
Right. And what most amino acids and vitamins and minerals you need are going to be essential. You're not making it on your own. There are certain things that like other animals make on their own, like vitamin C. We get into is an essential vitamin, right? That you need. But some animals make it their own. Like I've never given my dog Benny or Kodak a glass of orange juice. Do you know why? They literally make their own vitamin C.
That's so cool.
My dog is not going to get scurvy. Scurvy. There's two different things. Yes, two different things. He's not going to get scurvy because they make their own, so they don't need that, right? So, and there's other animals that make their own. A lot of these make their own, but we don't. We evolved to not make their own. And there's a whole reason why about like requiring energy to do so, and why we evolved to make them. And we'll talk more about what the non-essential ones are down the line. So the difference between amino acids, vitamins, and minerals. Again, amino acids are what comprises proteins. Your vitamins are things that are inside the plants or the things you're consuming that make them up, right? And minerals are found in soil, and the plants that you're consuming pull those minerals out of the dirt, out of the soil, or wherever they grow, whether the seabed or the ocean, depending on what you're eating, and pull those minerals in and stores them. And then when you eat that, you consume it, right? Very similar how like an omnivore get their B12 because that's given a supplement to the cow, and they eat the cow and they get their B12. We get our B12 through because the middleman just takes the supplement.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, so and we treat plants as our middleman, right? But we have to they're not even our middleman because they literally have them in them. Like you could,
right, exactly.
If you took nothing but supplements, you would actually like really damage your liver doing that, trying to process all that because all of it being together helps break it down and become other things. And some minerals need other things to actually be absorbed. So I'm talking. You good?
There's
I'm talking
tons
a lot.
of like fruits and vegetables that you can get a lot of these from.
Right.
So you don't have to just, pop a pill or anything like
Yeah.
that.
Why would you? That's boring.
What?
Why would you? That's boring.
I That's very true. And when we talk about some of these fruits and vegetables that you can eat to help get these vitamins and minerals and all the essentials, they're things that you have anyway. You eat sweet potatoes, you eat spinach, and spinach is like the king in a lot of this. Any
I'll talk about
leafy
that in a bit,
green.
too.
Yeah, so
Spinach-
like fruit, like mangoes, like all this stuff, you already eat a lot of this.
Yeah.
But again, it's tracking it to make sure that you're eating the right quantities, the right balance of these vitamins, and not just like way too much of one and
Right.
not enough of another one. Like, what is the one that we were talking about the other day? Is it vitamin A that we can get like a crap ton of? Like that just naturally, I get way too much.
Yeah, we talk about vitamin A is interesting because I get a ridiculous amount of it, and it actually can be changed. You can actually overdose in vitamin A. It's fat soluble. You can actually get like toxicity from it. You can get really sick from vitamin A. So you gotta be careful. You have to like really like have like eat a bunch of it, but you can definitely get sick from vitamin A.
Yeah, so that's why I think it's really helpful for us to not just talk about this, but like, again, remind you that tracking for just a little bit gives you so much information about the balance in your diet. I really need to do this just because I eat a pretty balanced diet, but there's got to be something that's off, and it is kind of fascinating because you can look at all this data, where I'm analytical. I love, I work in marketing. So just look at the data that you collect from tracking for just a little bit, and you can make little tweaks to the food you eat to really optimize yourself. Just give yourself the best options in the world, for the best mental and physical health. So I'm excited for this.
It can be affirming, like, oh, okay, I'm doing it right, I'm doing a good job. It can also be informative. You're like, oh wow, I get like no vitamin, X. It's not exist. I'm gonna use that one. I'm like, what? What does vitamin X do? You're like, oh, it helps, with eyesight. Oh, and like I should increase that. Maybe it'll help. I'm having vision issues, whatever, right? So it can help inform you of what maybe something you're lacking that leads to you realizing you may have something, you have an issue. So with amino acids, they're the ones that make up proteins. And you're gonna find amino acids and back up too. There's this whole myth about food combining to get proper amino acids. Like you need to eat rice and beans together to get them. That is bullshit.
Okay, I've always been curious about
garbage.
That, and I've actually asked you about this before.
Yes, the person who came up with that was wrong, and they admitted so.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they came out like, I think it was like early 90s or late 80s. They came out, they're like, no, that was wrong.
Oh.
It was all based on assumptions, and then they actually did the research and like, oh, that's not true. Like, yeah, it's not true. As long as you're eating a well-balanced diet, you're going to get every single amino acid. But
interesting.
I'll pull mine up. I'll share my screen with you. You can see how my amino acid profile. We'll do it live. I'm serious. I'm going to show you what I eat and my amino acids. You go, holy crap! I'm like, exactly right. So the big difference, but of course, most people think you need to eat protein eat protein from animal sources to get all your amino acid profiles. Okay, so which again is not true. Okay, I use protein powders because I work out and. I need higher protein because I don't want to. I'm trying to build muscle, so I need that higher protein to repair. And it's really and I was always trying to understand like why one is better than the other. What does it matter? So Dr. Michael Greger, love his stuff. He always has sources for stuff. You can and his site is awesome. His book How Not to Die is amazing. And this information I get from him, that's why I bring him up. So essentially, the amino acids that we get from plants are different, and essentially let's say their shape, right? They're still the same thing, but they're structured a little differently. And the amino acids that we would get if we eat animal products, the animal products increase your insulin-like growth hormones, okay, and plant proteins don't do that. They actually will reduce the insulin-like growth hormones. Okay, the reason that's a problem, insulin-like growth hormones, those growth hormones basically tell cells to grow, grow, which seems, oh, that's awesome. Build muscle. That's great. No, because amino acids of themselves are going to repair and build those muscles. But the reason you don't want that growth hormone to be high is because it tells all cells to grow. And what is fast growing cells? What's that called? Cancer. Right. That's why animal products are highly linked to colon cancer, breast cancer, testicular cancer, pretty much all the cancers, but not even lung. Even with lung cancers, you get it from smoking, but also you're telling those cells to grow. So what they've actually found is that plant-based proteins, amino acids from there, can actually lower that count. So it actually that's why also that's also two things. They found switching to plant-based diet can actually aid in the reduction of or slowing down cancer growth. It's not silver bullet. Just eating plants doesn't mean you'll never get cancer. No one's zero. You can be vegan since birth and still get cancer. That's not what this means.
Right.
It means it lowers your risk. It reduces your risk. Okay. It's not a cure. I'm not saying that either. Again, it's all about reducing and lowering risk. We talked about that in a previous episode that, if you have a risk of 30% while you eat animal products, you're going to increase that risk of your risk. You're going to agitate that risk. Eating a plant-based diet means you can either lower that risk or at least not exacerbate the problem, right? They've also found that
common sense, guys.
Right. They've also found that they actually use blood from plant-based person with petri dishes with cancer, and it actually has destroyed that cancer in the petri dishes, and that's why we have that reduction in that growth hormone, and we actually respond better because we don't have that trigger that actually causes those cells to explode and grow. Okay, so that's your big difference, right? It's just the way our body processes that amino acid because of where it comes from doesn't reach those hormones, and it helps aid in the risk of cancer growth. And again, that's why dairy, because of the hormones in dairy, really bad when it comes to breast cancer, testicular cancer, and ovarian cancer, things like that, because of the hormones associated with it. Red meat, stuff like that, colon cancer sits in your colon, it festers, and it's going to cause those issues with colon cancers. Anyway, that's your amino acids.
That's so fascinating, the different way that a body breaks down these same kind of amino acids, but they're not the same. They're different. Right. Like that's so, I don't know. That's a fascinating concept that I don't think people really think about. What's really cool is this could be an argument that you could use, against someone who's trying to fight you about going vegan. Right. Be like, well, listen to this. Because I think this is that's a big major factor that I think if you showed proof of this to someone, this could be an argument that would help sway them too.
Right. Again, exactly. Because it's the same amino acids in essence. You're still going to get the muscle building, the muscle repair from it, but you don't have the added on, not hijacker, but the hitchhiker that comes along with the animal-based amino acid.
Right.
Triggers those. That's essentially what I'm saying. It's basically they're shaped slightly different in the sense that one of them has an extra piece of it that actually triggers these growth hormones. And I'm really low level talking, simple, it's high level talking. I'm not going to get details about it. That's best I can get detail wise. So now that I ran about amino acids and we're deep into the show already, we'll talk about vitamin minerals. We're not gonna hit every single one of them, and I'll let you talk a little bit because I kind of rambled for a while there. Probably talked way too fast.
So we're not going to talk about all of them, but I do want to touch on a few of them. We've talked about vitamin A a little bit, about how we can get a little too much. But I get most of my vitamin A from sweet potatoes, mangoes, and spinach. Those are I eat way too much of those three things.
Yeah, mine's carrots and sweet potatoes.
Yeah, that's definitely my vitamin A for sure. But I mean, it does aid in vision, your immune system, all that, reproduction. So it is a good vitamin to have. But again, like David said, we should be careful to make sure that we aren't overdoing the vitamin A because it can be a little bit harmful for you. Right. Vitamin B, that's a big one. We take a lot of supplements as vegans for things like vitamin B because it can be difficult to get if you don't like certain foods, I'm not big into fermented stuff. I need to be more for my gut health and stuff, but you can definitely get some vitamin B from fermented foods. Vitamin B gives you energy. Duh. Like
Actually,
when you what's in that awful little freaking bottle?
yeah,
That the
the
5 hour
5 hour energy.
energy
5 hour
drink.
energy
It's
is a
just B. It's
yep,
just vitamin B. Just
yep.
like kill you with it. Oh God, it's
Whenever you
disgusting.
people will go get vitamin B12 shots to give themselves like a
Ugh.
boost of energy. That's it. That's all it is. Vitamin B12 is like that's your energy source. If you're feeling like sluggish and you're kind of cloudy headed, I was like check your vitamin B12 levels.
Yeah.
Nutritional yeast. So vitamin B12 primarily, but vitamin B's in general. Vitamin B12 is the one that's harder to get. Vitamin B itself, most of them you're going to get them through a plant-based diet, no problem.
Right.
B12 is a hard one because B12 is actually made in soil by by microbes. It's actually what they produce, right? It's basically made by bacteria by going, all right. So it's what it is. It's the byproduct of bacteria. So that's why nutritional yeast. People say to nutritional yeast because it's a bacteria. It's a yeast, right? You can also fermented foods because fermented. There's healthy bacteria in there which is producing B12.
Right.
Your supplements. I mean you have to have bacteria in the mix and yeast in the mix to actually get a B12 out of it. Again, they found that most people, at least again, mainly in the United States, I don't know, can't really speak to most other countries, are low in vitamin B12, including meat eaters, but because they get their
Yep.
B12 as a middleman from the cow or the chicken or the pig or stuff like that.
So they're getting low doses of it.
Right, if they do get it in that sense, right? Because the reason we have to have a supplement or get it through something like yeast, because back in the day when we were just like picking things off the ground, eating them, there was dirt on things. We were just pulling carrots out of the ground and just munching on them as we walked around through the woods, and we were eating that. Also, well water and like creek water because it's running through dirt. Dirt's all mixed in with it. Those bacteria are mixed in, so you can get them. The reason, of course, we don't do that anymore because you also get parasites when you do that. So we all wash our fruits and vegetables so we don't get parasites and bugs, and we don't really drink from well water in the same context that we used to. When you don't drink from creek because you're gonna get a worm that'll kill you, so you can't do that.
So gross.
Right? So we kind of we had to trade off for being able to live longer and be healthy to like having to go supplement or also like plant milks and protein powders are fortified with B12. So you also get them through fortified foods.
I think you can find B12 in pretty, frequent places. I mean, again, a leafy green, a grain, nuts, some citrus fruits, all those things are very helpful. But we all put nutritional yeast on everything.
Yeah.
And you are getting some definite essential vitamin B nutrients from Nooch. And I mean, just sprinkle that on everything and you're getting all kinds of stuff.
I put Nooch in my lunch this week. I do like a pasta thing, so I just go.
Oh, so good.
Vitamin C is we're gonna do shows on some of these anyway. We can really dive into them. But vitamin C is needed for iron absorption. So if you're eating something that's high, if you need to increase your iron intake, you're eating foods higher in iron. You make sure you have vitamin C paired with it, so you can absorb it a lot. Even if you're taking a oral supplement, you need to make sure vitamin C is included in that supplement, or else you're not going to absorb the iron anyway. But it's also used for protein metabolism and the immune system. Primarily found like citrus fruits, peppers, bell peppers, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, strawberries. Vitamin C is very sensitive to heat. So if you can eat these things raw or close to raw, you're better off you're going to be. So if you're just like roasting the crap out of your Brussels sprouts and your bell peppers and citrus fruits maybe, you're not going to get the benefit of it. Of course, broccoli, we can't really digest broccoli raw in its raw state anyway because it's too fibrous.
Right.
So steaming is a good way to handle broccoli. But you want to keep things that are high in vitamin C as low heat as you can and raw if possible to ensure you're going to get the most out of your vitamin C foods.
That's a really good tip because I don't think a lot of people know that. I also don't think people know that peppers have vitamin C in them. I think that's a great addition. I mean, you can make tacos and just or fajitas even and just load them up with all kinds of great vitamin C, protein, all kinds of things up in there.
Yeah, I think bell peppers actually have higher vitamin C per serving than like an orange.
Yeah, absolutely. They're delicious.
Yeah.
And vitamin D. I go outside for my vitamin D.
Okay,
You
sorry.
can't be 12.
I can. I am, but
No.
I can. Um,
I go outside every single day to get vitamin D. I also take a supplement because it just makes you immediately what's I see this on TikTok all the time. It says, why do I always feel like I'm depressed? And then I get hit by that ray of sunshine and I feel all better again. And it shows them just sitting there basking in the sun. Like it truly, a little bit of vitamin D from the sun can perk you up in
oh yeah.
such an amazing way.
Well,
Like I know it sounds woo woo. I know I sound like a hippie girl right now, but it
absolutely is
is
not.
legit.
No, it is. So I've heard it called the happy vitamin essentially. Because
Yes.
because it's sad. This the seasonal
Seasonal depression during winter.
yeah, it's an acronym. It's seasonal something depression, seasonal acute depression. I can't remember what the whole acronym stands for. But it's that happens because we have less sunlight. So you're getting less sunlight, which actually lowers your mood. So vitamin D actually greatly affects your mood. If you're working in an office and you supplement with it, you can actually get like lights that produce to help produce vitamin D. Try going outside a little bit about an hour. So I think 30 minutes to an hour is all you need a day to get
Yeah,
like the adequate amount. So your body will make its own, but the reason this is I have this on the essential list is because it doesn't make it on its own with no input. It needs some
right.
sort of input to do that. Calcium, of course, we all know calcium is your bone health. They're good for nervous system, your blood pressure. Leafy greens, broccoli, and legumes. Again, as long as that's mostly where I'm like when I'm concerned about calcium. Mine's like making sure I get my leafy greens in and make sure I'm eating like some sort of bean, either be soybean or my legumes in me, and usually I can get my calcium fine.
I feel like this episode is definitely a ringing endorsement to eat every leafy green you possibly can
Mm-hmm.
whenever you can. Because almost every single one of these vitamins and minerals has a green associated with it,
As,
or just in general. Like that is pretty much our superfood for vitamins and minerals.
like my calcium this week is 123% of my daily needs. And other than my protein powder, which is a good chunk of it, which I don't have to have. I would be at it even if I didn't have it. But my top three other than my protein powder is spinach, tempeh, and broccoli. Spinach is leafy green. Tempeh
Yep.
is soy, which is a legume. And broccoli is on the list. It's broccoli. So yeah,
There you
straight
go.
up my
Yep.
top three,
Perfect.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we can't say much. Everyone knows calcium. That's your go-to.
Yeah.
Chloride. I want to put this one because that's needed for digestive health, and that's something that you're working on.
Mhm.
And it's in salt. That's a good place. Anything that's salty and has natural salt, like soy sauce, because salt is sodium chloride.
Did we not just talk about how I am a freak about not wanting salt on
Right. And
things?
again, that doesn't say to
And
eat a
I
bunch of
need
salt.
gut health.
Right, it aids in gut health. So you do need salt. We do need sodium because if you're eating salt, salt in of itself is sodium chloride. Chloride is a poison. Sodium is a poison. Sodium chloride is salt, and it's not. It's kind of fun.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, and there's not too much to say. I wanted to point that one out because you've been talking about gut health. So
Yeah,
that's important.
I'm fascinated. Thank you for saying that one because I looked at it when I was looking at these notes and I'm like, I don't know what to add here. I don't know what we're going to be talking about in this little section. Oh, that's so helpful.
Yeah, the next one is iodine. I wanted to highlight this one because it's another really hard one for vegans to get, essentially because people tell you need to eat fish and seafood for your iodine. Right. Ew. And it's iodine comes from the ocean. That's what you're gonna get from biomes
Yep.
in the ocean. Unless the vegetables and fruits and vegetables you get are near an ocean because they would get it naturally from the soil, which is not really hardly anybody.
Right.
You're gonna need to you can have to supplement by it. Whether it be through salt, fortified foods, or doing sea veggies like seaweed.
Yeah, I was
Kelp.
just going to say that. Yeah.
Be careful with kelp because kelp is extremely high in iodine. It can make you sick.
Oh,
So you can't
goodness.
just use straight kelp. Usually things iodine supplements are from kelp or they're like derived from kelp a little bit, but it's very little of it because it can actually make you sick. But iodine is good for metabolism, body temp, and nerve muscle function. It helps. Actually, it's needed a lot by your thyroid, which is in your throat, and your thyroid is what regulates your body weight because it regulates your metabolism. So a lot of people who, if you notice you're having issues, like I noticed that myself. I'm like, I'm having issues with like body weight issues. I'm like, I probably should. I'm gonna check where I'm getting my iodine from, and not very good at it, but I try to take a supplement for it regularly just to keep it up.
Yeah, I try to remember to take mine too, because
It's
I
hard
got
to
the
remember.
same thing when you mentioned it. But
Yeah.
I again, I'm not consistent enough with it, but I'm going to be.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I do eat some fortified foods. I don't know where my levels are for that, but I do some fortified foods that I think help. Where are my iodine levels? Kind of curious on that. I don't know if I have it on here or not.
Yeah, I am curious. The
Um,
supplement's very easy though. It's like a drop from this little
yeah,
container thing. We can send a link since we have the same one. I got the exact same one that you have. So
perfect,
we'll add that link in our show notes.
perfect.
Perfect.
You do the next one? I'm
Now
talking a
you're
lot.
curious. You're like, what's my iodine levels? Oh
I am
no.
nervous. Yeah, I'm like, what am I doing? The next one being iron. So basically, just like
Very
just
important.
just get a pole, iron, just to get a rod, just chew on it.
Oh my God.
No, but it's
Wow.
you people usually associate iron with blood because the red texture, because iron's rusty and it's red, so people get the red texture. And it actually aids in red blood cells actually passing the oxygen through the red blood cells from throughout. Also, it helps with chemical reactions, actually creating all the minerals and pulling minerals out and making one mineral into another one when it gets metabolized by your body. Those reactions are needed, and also hormone regulation. And you're getting
And
that
again, you can get it from a green vegetable.
yeah, green vegetables are your
What?
jam, dude. And green vegetables and grains, and just all fruits. You're set.
It's crazy.
The thing
It's
about
crazy.
the thing about iron, people associate spinach with iron pretty heavily.
Mhm,
And
they
not
do.
That, not that that's wrong necessarily. But the problem with spinach. There's a problem with spinach. People don't really pay attention to.
Okay.
So spinach, though, being extremely healthy, shouldn't really be eaten raw.
Okay.
Okay, so spinach is pretty high in oxalates. Okay, and oxalates. There's other vegetables are, but spinach is like kind of demonized for it because it's pretty high. And oxalates can prevent absorption of vitamins and nutrients from your foods.
What the heck?
Cooking it actually doesn't get rid of them, but it greatly reduces them. So I try never to eat spinach raw. I always cook my spinach.
That is good to know because
Yeah.
I have put spinach like in smoothies and stuff. Good
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah, if you want to get iron from leafy greens like kale, Swiss chard, that sort of stuff, those things are really good at getting iron without having to worry about oxalates much. But spinach is kind of like known for having its like oxalate levels pretty high, and it can actually reduce your absorption of those minerals. So if you want to get spinach with your iron from spinach, make sure you're cooking them. I put mine in I put mine in
Good to
pastas
know.
and stuff. No.
Man, I had no idea.
Yeah.
No clue. Look
Whenever-
at me learning all kinds of stuff over here.
Yep, I always cook my spinach. I never eat it raw. If I eat raw
I've
spinach,
ate
it's because
raw
it's my
so
option.
much. I've ate spinach raw so much more
Yeah.
than I've ate it cooked.
Yeah, it's not that you won't get anything out of it. It not just blocks it completely, but definitely it makes the absorption more difficult.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good to
so
know.
bear in mind. There are other foods that have, but those are the one. That's the one that I always bring up. People make sure you cook it, and like people are like, I love bell peppers. It's got vitamin C. Well, make sure you eat it with raw. People will cook the crap out of the bell peppers, and like vitamin
Right.
C. I'm like, you are, but not as much as you think. And now that I ruined that spinach for you, sodium, more salt. Again, that's for your nervous system
More
and processed foods and just
me
salt.
and my hatred of salt.
Yeah, anything salty, soy sauce, you see like amino acids, the fermented, the Brags, so like that, coconut aminos,
Mhm,
things that are salty,
yes.
typically higher in anything that's higher in sodium, has a good sodium level. That's good. Again, watch your sodium intake. It does increase hypertension, it does increase your blood pressure. You need to be aware of that, especially if you already have a heart condition or a blood pressure problem. Be highly aware of that. But you do need some sodium in your diet. Sodium is also used by your body and your brain to pass like electric impulses to your nervous system. So you need sodium. If you notice you're having issues with again, brain fog, you're having like muscle issues, maybe nervous response issues, check your sodium levels. You might be a little low in sodium. So you should. I want to see. I want you to track yours. I'm curious what yours looks like. I think you'd surprise yourself.
I have screwed myself by avoiding salt so much. I feel like I'm learning that I have perhaps done things the wrong way. So
that's how you learn. You make adjustments. So we're over an hour into this. I don't want to go too. There's a lot. There is a ton to go over, but I only went over the ones that I know are usually harder to find. So your non-essentials, there's actually a good amount of amino acids that your body makes naturally, just has because you're a person.
Woohoo!
We exist with muscle tissue, and it breaks down and rebuilds, things like that. So I'm not gonna go through every single one because a bunch. There's I think it's like 15 amino acids here you make on your own.
Yep.
And there's a lot that you don't make on your own. Not quite as many. But again, as long as you're having a plant, you have that naturally. As long as you're eating enough proteins in your diet, you're not avoiding your proteins. A well-balanced protein, not just beans and legumes. You're doing nuts, seeds, beans, tempeh, tofu, seitan, mushrooms are a good source of amino acids as well. As long as you're doing that, you're going to hit all of those. It's not a problem. And I want to show my you can see live what mine looks like. It's kind of fun. Okay. I don't think I've ever shown you my chronometer.
You're like, look how great I am, Megan.
No, I'm
you're
not
over
perfect.
here
You'll
wondering why you're
I don't hit everything.
All up in a corner. Okay, show me.
I do have the vitamin D because again, we make our own, but we do need some sort of input, so it's kind of a gray area. And biotin, which is in bones, hair, and synthesized glucose. We make our own. Another one I don't have on here, but make sure I bring up is cholesterol. We make our own cholesterol. You do not.
We did talk about that a little bit in the last episode, didn't we?
A little bit, yeah. You do not need, unless you have a hormonal issue or something else going on that's medically, but generally speaking, you do not need dietary cholesterol. We make our own. That's it. We make our own good and our own bad, and your good gets rid of the bad, and we're fine. You make your own cholesterol. You don't need extra cholesterol. You need cholesterol to make cells. Yeah, you do. You make your own. You're a mammal. Well done. I say that generally speaking, like cats need the taurine. That's why they're. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation we've already had. So
right, share.
All right, I'll share my screen real quick. Let's see. We can share screen. Screen 3.
Ooh, I'm excited to see.
All right, you see my screen?
Yes, I do.
All right, so just to kind of break down, like this is my meal plan for the week, right? So I have a smoothie I do in the morning, which is it's berries, and then I usually do just soy milk. I have soy milk here. I have 2 cups because I can take that down to 1 now because I adjusted it, which won't change much of anything. I do chia seeds, cacao powder, hemp hearts, peanut butter. That's like a morning smoothie for me. And sometimes I'll do a kiwi, apples, and mango with some protein powder. And both of these have protein powder in them. My morning smoothie and my night one. I didn't have it today, just wasn't in the mood for it. So my dinners this week is tempeh, bell peppers, onions, broccoli, and brown rice. And I put whatever sauce I want on that. Today was honey. It was like a vegan honey mustard.
Delicious.
Yep. And then I did a pasta bake, which was a red lentil pasta, mushrooms, zucchini, and spinach. And a little tomatoes. I did pasta sauce on that, with tomato-based pasta sauce on that. Daya cheese and then nutritional yeast. When I make it, I keep nutritional yeast raw because cooking nutritional yeast can actually damage the B12 that's in it. So
right.
So you can see I'm actually over my calories a little bit, but I did around
a little bit. It's only 84.
Right.
Meanwhile, the majority of the world is like miles over their daily caloric intake.
Right. And not everything's tracked. Like I didn't track my sauces because I'm not freaky about it. I'm just like, hey, roughly where am I? Right. So I was a little higher in calories, but I hit about a little around 2,000 calories. Right. So go down. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Yeah. Right. So my protein, I did 140 grams. I didn't try. I just made my meals. That's where it ended up. I don't try for protein. I just let it happen naturally. My carbs are 201 and 201 grams. My fat is 59 grams. And you can see, like my carbs were high, but I was 43% carbs, 29% protein, and 29% of fats. I would have actually liked more carbohydrates and less protein because I feel like I went a little overboard. But again, I didn't plan this. I didn't plan that. I just make sure I hit. If I'm low on something, then I go, I should add another fruit or vegetable to compensate, right?
Oh, that's interesting that you've got your eating down to such like a rhythm where you kind of know. You do kind of, I guess, in a way, eat intuitively, but then when you put it in here, it just helps you tweak it a little bit. That's interesting.
Yeah, if I'm a little higher in fat, then I'm like, okay, let's take this out and let's put this carb in, or
Right.
If I'm like, oh, I'm low in this, no, I'm missing an amino acid. Let's throw some mushrooms in and adjust for that. So I'll show you my levels. So you see, I'm not perfect. Not everything sits right. My B12s are all hit. So like this B12, it's a little off screen. So like my B1 was from hemp hearts, brown rice, spinach, and mushrooms. Where my B1, my B2 was
that's so cool.
my soy milk, peanut butter, and tempeh brown rice was my B2. Mushrooms, broccoli, brown rice. Brown rice is really good for your Bs. My B12 was my soy milk and my tempeh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. I could supplement for that if I wanted to. If I want to have less soy milk or do an all milk and do that. My folate is good. My vitamin A is 821%. Look at that.
We're saying that vitamin A, man. We get 600% that. 600%
came from spinach. 600% of my vitamin A came from spinach. The rest was broccoli and zucchini. Like those leafy greens, man.
Yeah, anything green is a great thing to eat.
Yeah, usually orange and green, man. Orange and green will get you vitamin A. Vitamin C, broccoli and kiwi and bell peppers.
Perfect.
Right. My vitamin D was mushrooms, and I forgot mushrooms have vitamin D in them. Yeah, and soy milk because it's fortified.
Yeah, that's a good soy milk too.
It is. My vitamin E is spinach and peanut butters. As we talked about vitamin, we didn't talk about it, but it's there like nuts. Nuts are really good because you're basically your fats. So if you look at lots of the fats are a really good source for vitamin E's, like especially nuts and seeds. My vitamin K is spinach, broccoli.
Wow, it's through the roof too.
Right. It's not fat soluble, so it's not that big deal. Vitamin A is fat soluble. I should really watch that. I shouldn't have done that high, but I wasn't trying. Let's see. Stuff we actually talked about. So my calcium, spinach, tempeh, broccoli I talked about. A good chunking from my soy milk, but even if it didn't, I wouldn't worry about it. I just said my numbers. Iron we talked about. Spinach, again, I cook my spinach, so I'm fairly confident that I got that amount out of it. Hemp hearts and my tempeh.
Oh, I love hemp hearts.
My sodium, again, my protein powder and my fortified soy milk. Also, spinach and broccoli do have some sodium in them. Not that much. They do have some. My tempeh has some natural sodium in it.
I mean, you can hear which ones are the big hitters in this just by you telling what's in each one. You can tell which kinds of foods are going to really up these numbers just by listening to this. So that's fascinating.
My protein, my amino acids. Look at that, 400%.
That's crazy.
400%. And if you notice, these are the essential ones. The non-essentials doesn't list because I make those anyway.
Right.
If you take out, like, okay, look at this one, the one that's 400%, right? It's filanine. A good chunk of it is from my protein powder because I do 2 protein powders a day. That's because I'm lifting weights. That's why. Even if I didn't, tempeh, boom, hit it 100% already anyway.
Yep.
Right.
That's crazy.
Lysine. Other than that, tempeh. Soy. Yeah,
tempeh is a great source.
Yeah. Tempeh's gonna hit most of these. This is one that's not tempeh.
Wow, almost all of them.
It's a fermented soy, so it's gonna hit a lot of my numbers anyway. Peanut butter, spinach, broccoli.
Can you show where you got your magnesium from?
Sure. Magnesium, hemp hearts, spinach, and cacao powder. Cacao powder is really good for magnesium. And tempeh. Tempeh is a fermented soy product, so it's gonna be good. It's good for magnesium as well.
Okay, good to know.
I have some saturated fats that came from my peanut butter. You do need saturated fats in your diet. You just want to keep those as low as you can, but you do need some in your diet. Actually, that's saturated fats are good for for cells and stuff like that because that's what fats are for. No, I did get trans fats. There's no trans fats. There's trace amounts like peanut butter and chia seeds, but those are fine.
Look at that omega-3s.
Omega-3s at 200. My ratio is probably not that great, but not too bad. Omega-3s, hemp hearts, chia seeds, tempeh. Omega-6s, hemp hearts, tempeh, peanut butter.
Hemp hearts are a big winner too, it seems. I love them.
Really good. They're really good for protein source.
I put them on so many things, but I probably I might be putting too many. I don't know. Again, let's track, Megan. Let's track.
I gotta watch my fiber. If I have too much fiber, I feel like I have a rock in my stomach, so I gotta be careful with that. But not too bad. Usually if I get around like 70 or 80, which is high anyway, I'm like, I just feel like really, really like heavy and feel like I just like ate a brick.
Right. This is fascinating.
So
Wow.
yeah. So I mean, I mean, I know we kind of ramble on about looking at my stuff, but it's, and I don't try to get these. On a rare occasion, I'm like, oh man, if I'm like hankering like chili, right? I'm like, I can make a chili this week, and chili's like just a bunch of beans, and then I'll do like a little bit of like grounds or something, like some veggie grounds, and bell pepper, onion, spinach, and then that's it. And I go, oh my god, I'm low on something. I should, I forgot to. Like, I'm low on, I don't know, phosphorus. I don't know. Yeah, phosphorus, for example. Like, say I'm low on that. Okay, well, mushrooms are actually a really good source of phosphorus. So I'll throw some phosphorus. I'll throw some mushrooms in my chili, which won't really add anything to the flavor, but it'll increase that micro. I picked one at random. That's probably not really worry about too much.
But that's a great example, though, how you can just make these tiny little tweaks. And this app and website, whatever, actually shows you which fruits and vegetables fit which vitamin, mineral, protein, and all of that. So then you can just like pick whatever is on that list, just pick and do a little bit more of it. Or I love that. That's a great help. So we're going to put this link in the show notes, of course. Chronometer. Everybody uses this, right?
Yeah, I love this thing. Use it all the time. Once a week. In fact, I can go up here and I'll go to like the 4th. No, I didn't do it that week. There you go. Here's last week.
Wow.
And I was a little low. My B vitamins were a little low.
Look at your vitamin A. You need to control yourself.
Yeah, that last week was butternut squash and sweet potatoes and peas. Peas, dude.
Peas are a superfood too.
If you want to give your amino acids or your protein a boost and like really just give your diet overall just overhaul, peas. I mean, watch this. If I go in here and click on a serving of peas, all right, 1 serving of peas, right? Protein is 8 grams of protein per serving, which is
that's insane. Yeah,
right? It's pretty good for just for a serving, a cup of peas, right?
Right.
Carbs are good, almost no fat, but look at this.
That's crazy.
Look at that. Look at that. Just a cup of peas will get you 25% of 2 amino acids. It gets you everything. Almost every amino acid goes up 20% with just peas for me on.
Yeah, 38% for B1.
Yeah. Everything but B12. I took off my B1. My vitamin A is done. I think my vitamin taken care of.
Yeah.
30% of my iron was from peas.
32% of vitamin K just from a cup of peas.
That's it. Peas are like, that's my go-to. If I'm a little bit low on anything, I just throw peas in. I have a bag of peas in the refrigerator right now. If I meal plan and go, I'm like low on a vitamin mineral oil that I should really be watching, I just throw like a serving or 2 of peas in it. Done.
And peas are yummy too.
Yeah. And they're a serving is 125 calories. And
I really don't think people realize that peas have protein in them. Like, I think if you say that to someone who eats meat, they're gonna be like, okay,
I mean, that
peas.
Like my meal that day was sweet potatoes, peas, tofu, and butternut squash. Look at that. My amino acids are almost completely covered in that one meal.
Yeah, almost completely.
Copper, calcium,
wow.
manganese. My iron is through the roof. Selenium is almost completely there. Phosphorus is there. My vitamin A is gone. It's gone to 1,000%.
Vitamin C's at 69%.
Yeah, almost nice. Almost all of my almost every B vitamin has been maxed out. Almost. You got vitamin E, vitamin K, dude. That
wow,
meal alone,
look at that vitamin K. Wow.
People talk about being vegan is expensive. I do that. Literally a single sweet potato, not a small one, like a small one.
Yeah.
A cup of peas, half block of tofu, and a cup of butternut squash. 500 calories, and I've just absolutely just dominated my needs for the day. I'm more than halfway with everything within one meal. I start breakfast and lunch.
That's amazing. See, look at that. Look at that.
All of it.
So that's a benefit from tracking that people don't think about as well, that you don't have to make like a big, huge, elaborate meal. It can be something super simple. Like David's meals are pretty like simple in ingredients. It's not a whole lot of frou-frou stuff, but look at the benefits of it too. One, you're not adding a bunch of calories you don't need, but you're also hitting all of these minerals and nutrients, and it's kind of amazing. Like it's nice to see it in person. I'm glad you shared your screen with me.
40 grams of protein in that too. If you want your protein, you can take one meal, not that big of a meal, and it knocked out 500 calories, 40 grams of protein. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Impressive. Very impressive. Oh my goodness.
All right, rambled on for about that one. This is my favorite. This is my favorite topic, so I can talk for hours on this.
I love it. I've learned a lot. I'm definitely going to start tracking just to see. I'm very curious what I'm lacking in. And I wonder if it's going to like immediately be like, duh. You know? I feel like I'm just going to just within days be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's my problem
So, I
right
was like,
there.
oh, that
So
makes sense.
fine. I'll start tracking my food.
It'll be interesting to see.
Gosh.
Be careful because I know it can make you a little neurotic. So be careful with yourself on it.
Yes, I definitely will. And if you guys track your macros and micros, we'd love to hear about that. What kind of apps do you use? We've done a whole episode on our favorite apps for vegans, but I mean, we can do a new one. So if you have some suggestions, we'd love to hear it. Most people I know use the Chronometer, but there might be some other ones out there that you like to suggest. So how do you suggest things to us? You message us on Instagram or Facebook at The Average Vegans, or you can email us at theaveragevegans@gmail.com. You can find our podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, or anywhere you get your podcast fix. Please, as we said in the beginning of the episode, leave a review, like, star, whatever your app asks for. We'd love to hear from you guys. It helps us go up the charts. It helps when people hear about us. And of course, recommend us to your friends, your family, your coworkers, strangers, the delivery guy, which you're still getting delivery, and you just, say, hey, listen to this podcast. They'll love you, I promise. Show notes, links, and more can be found at theaveragevegans.com. And of course, we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear your episode suggestions like we've been hearing on Instagram. We've had a few suggestions from people. So please let us know. What do you guys want to hear us talk about? And of course, what's your favorite vegan treat? I need some new suggestions. So let us know. And that is all for this week.
All right. Well, until next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.